welcome here to TalkFCB and welcome back to the channel here today, guys, where we have plenty to discuss following Barça's Champions League qualification there to the round of 16 stage. And today we're going to be looking ahead at the potential opponents we could face in that round, and also how the Champions League bracket as a whole is really opening up for us now after our second place finish. We're going to be talking more about the game, of course, against Atalanta, with Ronald Araujo in particular under the microscope there. We're going to be talking about his celebration, his performance in the game, and also looking again into his future. The Szczesny Inaki Pena debate is still going on. Of course, we're going to be discussing all about that, along with Ansu Fati, and a vital few days to come here in the final days of the transfer window. Is anything happening with him? A brand new rumour has surfaced. It is all coming up for you today. Get yourselves ready and let's do this. But today's video, guys, is coming to you courtesy of the SofaScore app, because let me just say that so many people last night were looking for updates there, the latest scores, the latest developments in all of those Champions League games that were happening at the same time. And there was a certain sports app yesterday that in the middle of all of that, at the heart of the action, went down. Now, I won't name names, but I can tell you it starts with flash and ends in score. Now, can I just suggest that you make the switch to SofaScore? They were there right throughout the action, minute by minute, incredibly quick updates, and I would highly recommend it to you here, guys. And you can download the SofaScore app for free using the link in the description down below. That is a really, really big help to the channel. If you follow that link and download the app, I really appreciate it, and I guarantee they won't let you down. But if we do indeed begin here today, guys, with that Wojciech Szczesny and Inaki Pena debate, because like I say, it's still going on, and it seems like right now with every passing game, if anything, it's becoming more of a debate. And I thought it was interesting yesterday to sort of analyse Szczesny's performance, because I do feel as though he made a brilliant save, absolutely fantastic close range save there. 10 minutes into the game, ball was bouncing around there, took a deflection, and he made a really good stop. And of course, he's got that in his locker, close range there, making himself big. He's pulled off some outstanding saves, and I would say on Atalanta's first goal, for example, there was nothing that he could do about that. Absolutely nothing there. It was a wonderful strike. Lovely goal that it was from them. And Szczesny, he couldn't have done anything. That is not his fault at all. Now, the second Atalanta goal, maybe there you could make more of a case. Obviously, in the end, it sort of went through his legs. It was a finish under the goalkeeper. But at the same time, I wouldn't say that's a massive error, a massive mistake on his part. My actual problem with that goal, we're going to talk about it, it was the defensive line. It was actually how we allowed Atalanta to get into that position in the first place. So I wouldn't say particularly that's all on Szczesny, but I think a lot of people are really a bit concerned and maybe a little bit anxious, nervous watching him, wondering what's going to happen next. And I think we're all hoping here that as the game goes on, as the minutes go on here, Flick is hoping too, I'm sure, that sharpness and really that cutting edge just returns to Szczesny's game. Of course, you can't forget that the man had retired. He had taken some time off there out of the game. He thought his career was done, and then to be thrown back in here, it probably will take a bit of time, and maybe that is what we were seeing. But I was a little bit saddened to see an image that has emerged there of a Barca team meeting. I believe it was ahead of this game right here, and as you can see from this image, Inaki Pena, he looks a bit isolated from the group right now. He really does look a bit down, quite dejected in his demeanour, and I just think ultimately at this point, he is still surprised. I think he's still very shocked and not really understanding what on earth has happened, why very quickly, almost overnight, he's been thrown out of the picture. Can he get back in? Will he get back in? Right now, that is not happening, and looking to the coming games, there doesn't look like there's going to be any change in goal. What do you make of this right now, guys? And I would also like to just address something from last night's game there, late into the game, something that has been really blown up in the media today, rather expectedly. It was Yamal's reaction after he was taken off there by Hansi Flick. Now, bear in mind, he was actually taken off deep into injury time, so it wasn't as if he was taken off really early in the game when there was lots of time to go on and make a further impact. So Yamal taken off there with just moments left to go, but he did not look happy at all, did he? And it's not really the first time that we've seen this from Yamal, and ultimately, it's not a terrible thing. You know, we've seen Rafinha come off in the past, and obviously, he wears his heart on his sleeve. You know, you've got that passion to play. You want players to want to be out there all the time. You know, you wouldn't be happy to see a player thinking, oh great, I can come off, I don't have to play anymore. You want them to have that driving desire inside of them. But at the end of the day, this is what I've always said about Yamal, and most other players as well, especially young players, take it out their hands. And that is what Flick is doing here ultimately. It is not down to Yamal how much he plays. You know, you can't depend on him to tell you, is he ready? Does he want to continue? Does he want to keep on playing? It's not down to him. We have to take that out of his hands. It's our job to protect him, to make the right choices for him, for his career, for the longevity that we want to see from him. And I think we've got to continue taking him off. We've got to continue resting him where possible. A game like this, I think he probably could have come off even earlier. You know, the game in the grand scheme of things wasn't massively important to Barca. You know, I said before the game, I wouldn't even have started him. I would have given him a whole game of rest maybe. But of course he wants to be involved. But we've got to meet halfway there. If he's got to come off, if he's got to get some rest, he has to accept that. And ultimately, I think that he certainly will. There's no problem there. There's no animosity there between Yamal and Flick. They have a brilliant, brilliant relationship. And that there is nothing really to write home about. But if we do now move on, guys, to talk a lot here about Ronald Araujo and his whole situation at the club. And let's start, first of all, with an unbelievable super thanks coming in from Serge, who says there that he's watched every one of my videos since 2019. That is absolutely amazing. He says, I want to know your opinion on Araujo's celebration there. So thank you so much for that unbelievable generosity. And it's a great question. And I know many of you guys were thinking, well, what does that celebration from Araujo mean? And I've got to be honest, guys, when he scored, and of course at the time we thought it might be the winner on the night, incredible atmosphere inside the stadium, when he was running over to the fans, I thought maybe, is he going to kiss the badge? Is he actually going to go full on here, you know, declaring that love for the club, kissing the badge? I thought it was going to happen, but it didn't quite. And what he actually did in the end, he was sort of beating his chest and then pointing to the ground, and it almost seemed to say, well, I'm staying, maybe? You know, is that what that celebration meant? Or I'm here now, or I'm here to stay? Maybe one of those, perhaps, with that celebration. But we didn't actually have to wait long until Araujo told us himself after the game what he meant by that there. He said, my celebration, well, I'm happy. He said, I give everything for this club. And he said, God willing, I will be here for many years to come. And he said, if it depends on me, I will stay here for many more years. So Araujo there ultimately saying, I'm very happy. I want to stay for many years if it depends on me. And I thought it was interesting there that he went on to speak with the media in a little bit more depth later on. He said, I'm happy with the renewal. Everybody knows what I give to this club. I've given everything since the first minute that I've been here. And I think this renewal is a reward for that. He said, honestly, I haven't followed much of what he's said in the media, but I see some things and not everything that is said in the media is true there. So from those words there, you can take from that Araujo is happy with the renewal. I think in his mind, he feels as though he's earned it. You know, the bump in salary, he's been waiting really to feel appreciated by the club, and he feels now as though he's got that appreciation. He said, the only thing that I know is that I've always given everything. I've played injured, I've had operations, I've endured everything for the team. I will continue to give everything that I have. I'm very happy here at Barcelona. I think we are doing a great job, and the club has done a great job too there. So again, just sort of reaffirming he does give everything, and he has given everything for every minute there. I don't think he likes really his commitment to the club being questioned, and he says, again, he is very happy at the club. So what does all of this mean in terms of his future there, and in terms of what we saw from him yesterday? What does the future look like for Ronald Araujo at Barca? Because in my opinion, it all actually comes down to the football. I don't really believe here Araujo's future and this potential release clause comes down to money or a lack of love for the club or anything like that. I think it's very much about the football here, and I do believe that Araujo is concerned about his place in the team long term, and primarily, I think his main concern is he actually going to suit Hansi Flick's system. Because look, with Araujo, the feeling was he's got amazing attributes, he's strong, he's incredibly quick, he's a leader, he's a real character in this team, and Flick has spoken about all of those qualities. He really was excited about getting Araujo back, and on paper, it's everything that you would want from a centre-back. You know, what you would want from a centre-back, Araujo's got it, in abundance. However, as much as you really love all of those qualities, you know, the great pace, for example, the idea is, though, in Flick's system, is that you don't need it. You do not want to rely on that pace in behind, because ultimately, you hope you don't get there. You hope that that line is so secure, is so well timed every time in terms of the offside trap, that you do not need to use the pace to cover in behind. And look, for example, at Inigo Martinez, you know, how well he has done in this system. Now, he may not have the attributes of Araujo on paper, but in terms of adapting to this style, in terms there of really buying into that high line and the combination he has with Barça'S, that's why Flick has loved having him in his team. That is why he wants him to be renewed as soon as possible. And it's also great news, by the way, that Inigo is back in training with the group this morning. But I think the perfect example with Araujo is the second goal from Atalanta. Because we have seen this season that offside line, the offside trap, it only works when everybody's on the same page. There is absolutely no room for one player there not to be on the same level, to be just a step behind, to be a step off the pace. It will fall apart. It will absolutely collapse imminently. And of course, that understanding, it can take time. You know, at times we saw yesterday Araujo sort of trying to play offside, having his arm up in the air, but then playing everybody on. You know, these things cannot happen in this Flick system. So there is the hope now that with enough games, with enough minutes, that Araujo will understand more about what he's being asked to do, understand more about that high line, and it will start to come more naturally to him. But that, for me, is why the release clause is there. You know, I don't doubt that Araujo would like to stay here, but I do believe he's concerned about the style, about how well he will suit it in terms of that offside trap, and that's why the clause is there, just to give him an option, just to give him a potential out if it doesn't work out under Hansi Flick, guys. So these next months and these next games for Araujo, they are going to be absolutely crucial for him and for his future here. What do you think is going to happen? Because speaking of all-important futures, well then there is the topic of Ansu Fati, who yesterday spent his 7th successive game without playing a single minute there. His last minute came in the Copa del Rey against Barça'S back on the 4th of January there. So he has now spent nearly an entire month whilst being fit, but not playing a minute of football. Now, I'm really surprised, guys, I've got to be honest, that he continues to say, look, I am staying. I'm not leaving the club. I've got no interest in leaving the club. I think Flick has made it very, very clear that even after January here, his situation is very unlikely to change. And that's not a position that you want to be in as a football player there, to just be out on the sidelines, not even involved for a single minute in games. And apparently Barca have actually gone to Jorge Mendes, of course, Ansu Fati's agent, somebody they have a very good relationship with, and they've said, look, can you try and persuade Ansu to leave? Can you kind of talk to him there, maybe point him in the direction away from the club here in the final days of the window? And it's interesting right now, some big reports this morning coming out of the Netherlands regarding Ajax. Apparently they are looking at Ansu right now. They would like to take him on loan in the final days of the January window right here, and they would like to take him on loan for the rest of the season. They are a serious option right now. But again, we don't know if Ansu would accept that deal. Now for me, I think going to Ajax on loan, it would actually be a great move for him. You know, that's the kind of club there who are very good, very apt at developing players there. It's a good league to sort of go into and just get a bit of fitness back, get a bit of sharpness back, get some minutes in your legs there. He wasn't even able to do that really in the Premier League at Brighton. That was very, very fast and furious. But I think Ajax there could be a really good move for him. But like I say, I still don't know if he would accept that, guys. But if you were Ansu, if you had that offer coming in, would you be open to taking it? But then, of course, guys, it is time to talk more about the UEFA Champions League. Because Barca yesterday, in drawing with Atalanta, we did secure our place in second in the overall league standings there. It was a bit of a shame, obviously, because if we had won on the night, we would have finished top of the pile. But in the end, first or second, it doesn't actually make that much of a difference. Because right here and now, these are our 4 potential opponents in the round of 16 stage there. So we have a potential meeting against either Paris Saint-Germain, Benfica, Monaco, or Brest. Now, it's quite interesting already, because in the league phase, we've already faced 3 of these teams there. We played, of course, against Benfica. Now, wasn't that a memorable occasion? I mean, I really don't think I could handle that amount of stress in the knockout stages against Benfica, so let's not play the game like that again if we face them. Then, of course, you've got Monaco, who, don't forget, right at the start of the league phase, we lost against them there after that early red card for Eric Garcia, and we did comfortably see our way past Brest in the league phase as well. I'm sure that's a matchup there that we'd all love to see again. But, I mean, PSG, that would be interesting, dude. That would be a really, really incredible clash. But what's interesting right now, guys, when you look at the overall bracket, because, of course, we will learn much, much more after the Champions League draw is done there on Friday for the playoff matches, because what you have here is either Barca or Liverpool will be on one side of that draw. You know, we will be placed there on opposite ends, which means that right now, Barca and Liverpool, they can only play in the final of the Champions League. So that is the first big thing to bear in mind. It's also important to note here that Barca, as a seeded team, will play at home in the round of 16 second. So we will have there that all-important second leg at our home, wherever that may be. We'll have to wait and see. And the round of 16 stage will take place in March. So those there, guys, are the things right now to be aware of. We will learn much, much more, like I say, once that draw has been done and once that bracket really starts to fill out. And I'm just wondering here, guys, this is just, you know, a random question to you if you're interested, but Real Madrid in their Champions League playoff match can either get Manchester City or Celtic. Now, which of those teams do you think they will end up facing? Please let me know that in the comments down below, guys. And do let me know as well that everything else we have discussed in today's video, lots there for you to let me know your thoughts on. I will see you back here very soon indeed with lots more. Please don't forget as well to download the SofaScore app using that link in the description down below. That will be much, much appreciated. And thank you indeed for all of the great support. But until next time, guys, as always, Vejska, El Barça!